And I now want to move on to the speeches from our coaches, following which we'll have our team members speak up. So first up will be Sayeqa Islam. In many ways, Sayeqa is one of the world's most accomplished coaches. Not only has she coached 3 of the world's best speakers, one of whom is sitting right here, she also coached the 2 other coaches on this team. In addition, her past students have gone on to become world champions and finalists at the university level as well. She's overseen the rise of India at the World Schools Debating Championship, coaching us to our first knockout round in 2010 and repeating it again in 2012 and 2013. It's only fitting then that she's coached us this year in our best ever performance. As a debater, she represented New Zealand at the World Schools Debating Championship herself, and in her university debating career, she's seen many laurels, like being the best speaker and runner-up of the Australasian Debating Championships, the winner of the Cambridge Intervarsity, runner-up at the Oxford Intervarsity, and octa-finalist at the World Universities Debating Championship. She currently lives in the UK and works for a non-profit involved in capacity building in public schools. I'm now going to invite her to give a short speech.
So I introduced them to coffee and Red Bull. And for the next 3 days, we trained as hard as we possibly could. And that was the first year which India managed to win 6 out of its 8 preliminary rounds. So it meant that we reached the knockout stages for the first time. And that was an incredible achievement for us. But we then, in the knockout stages, unfortunately drew England. And I remember the topic clearly. The topic was that we should have no laws restricting the freedom of speech. And unfortunately, England went on to be the finalists of that competition. But in that particular round, which was a limited preparation round, means that you only get the topic announced 1 hour before the kids speak. And our students weren't as used to limited preparation debating. And so in the octo-finals, as hard as they fought and clawed, England absolutely killed us. Like, I mean, genuinely decimated us. But it was an incredible learning experience. And the reason I tell you that is because if you fast forward 8 years on, we drew England for the first time since that match. And we drew them in the 6th round of this competition. And we drew them in a limited preparation round. And this time around, instead of England winning 3-0 against us, we won 3-0 against them. And that just goes to show what the journey is like, that we wanted to be capable of winning against teams like that. So what did we have to do? Well, there was a few things. We really wanted our kids to get better at thinking critically for themselves. We want a culture of students who aren't there to rote learn, but there to analyze, to think on their feet. So the kinds of exercises, in case you're curious, is at World Schools, we get given an hour to do limited preparation debates. And some of the motions are prepared debates where we get given a few weeks to prepare. But to make sure that our students were able to meet the Singapores, the Englands, the Australias of this world, instead of giving them an hour to prepare for a particular topic, we actually introduced a thing called blind oppositions, which meant that when a student walks in, they are only given the topic in that instant. So it means that they have to start talking straight away, either for or against a topic. And they're not easy topics. One of the topics that we did this with was banning microfinance loans. But being able to speak on topics instantly was what gave us the edge when we went into World Schools and could get a whole hour. That looked like a luxury. So those are the kinds of things, as well as research tasks that we did. And with our team, what I think sets us apart is that they are what I think is quite crazy. At 10 p.m. at night, after working for 13 hours, we would try and send them home. And they would be like, no, just one more debate, just one more debate. And I've never come across that in any country that I've worked in. I've never seen such hardworking students. And just to mention, I've also coached Team England and I've also coached Team New Zealand. And so this is something that I can say for sure. These students are more hardworking and more rigorous than any other group of students I've had the pleasure of working with. And our disadvantages are quite a lot. In India, in a lot of other countries, the World Schools team is actually backed by the government. It's actually funded by the government. In a lot of other countries, debating is taught as a curriculum skill set in schools. In a lot of other countries, they have professional coaches who will coach them in debating. And they will also have weekly competitions, which any student can attend. So these are things that India just did not have, and to a large extent still does not have. What we do have, though, is a sponsor who's incredibly committed to spreading debating far and wide in India, and for that we're deeply thankful to Ramco Group and Mr. and Mrs. Raja. What we do have is an alumni of students who've gone through this program who always come in and give back. And I'm talking, when it was announced that we got through to the World Schools Finals, every single alumni member messaged us to wish us good luck and then asked us the crucial question, how can we help? And I think that that's the kinds of things that overcome our disadvantages that we have in this circuit. And I know that we're not where we want to be yet, but I can promise you that India now are a debating powerhouse in the world, and we don't intend to ever go backwards.
Probably shouldn't have wasted all that time talking about and proving that Sayeqa is an amazing speaker, because she just did that for you right there. And